Rocky Balboa wasn't supposed to exist, not as a champion, not as a symbol, and definitely not as one of the most iconic characters ever put on screen. He was never the most talented, never the fastest, never the strongest. He was just a man with something deeper, something harder to see, but impossible to break. And that is exactly why his story has lasted for generations. Before the world ever heard the name Rocky, there was a struggling actor named Sylvester Stallone. At the time, he was broke. Not trying to make it, broke. Truly broke. He had only a few dollars to his name, sleeping in a small apartment, rejected again and again by casting directors who didn't believe in him. His face didn't fit the standard. His voice didn't fit the mold. Everything about him was seen as a limitation. But then, something happened. In 1975, Stallone watched the fight between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner. Wepner wasn't expected to last. He was supposed to be knocked out quickly, another easy win. But he didn't go down. He kept getting up. Round after round, he stood there, absorbing punishment, refusing to quit. He even knocked Ali down, something no one expected, and in that moment, an idea was born. Stallone went home and, in just a few days, wrote the script for what would become Rocky. A story about an underdog fighter from Philadelphia, given one impossible shot at greatness. A man who didn't need to win. He just needed to prove he could go the distance. But even then, nothing was guaranteed. Studios liked the script. They saw the potential. They offered money. Real money. More than Stallone had ever seen. But there was one condition. He couldn't play Rocky. They wanted a bigger star, someone more marketable, someone safer. And he said no. Think about that. A man with almost nothing, turning down life-changing money because he believed in something bigger than comfort. Because he knew that story wasn't just words on paper. It was him. It was his struggle, his voice, his fight. Eventually they agreed. Low budget, unknown actor, high risk. And that risk changed everything. When Rocky was released, it wasn't just a movie. It was a movement. It won the Academy Award for Best Picture. It turned Stallone into a global name. But more importantly, it gave the world something it didn't even know it needed. A reminder that greatness isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance. Rocky Balboa isn't a superhero. He gets hit. He bleeds. He loses. But he keeps going. And that's what makes him different. That's what makes him real. Over the years, through films like Rocky II, Rocky III, and Rocky IV, the story evolved. We saw victories, losses, comebacks, and setbacks. We saw a man rise, fall, and rise again. But no matter what changed, the opponents, the stakes, the world around him, one thing stayed the same. He never quit. There's a line that defines everything Rocky stands for. Not the fights, not the titles, but the mindset. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's not just a line from a movie. That's a philosophy. That's a way of living. Because life will hit you. It will test you. It will push you to your limits and then go further. It will give you moments where everything feels stacked against you, where the odds don't just seem low, they seem impossible. And in those moments, you have a choice. You can stay down, or you can get up. Rocky chose to get up, again and again. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. Because something inside him refused to accept defeat as the final answer. And that's the lesson. Greatness isn't reserved for the chosen few. It isn't something you are born into. It's something you fight for. Something you earn. Something you build. One decision at a time. Rocky didn't become great the moment he stepped into the ring. He became great the moment he decided to keep going, no matter what stood in his way. And that same choice exists for you, every day, in small moments and big ones. When things get hard, when progress slows, when doubt starts to creep in, that's your fight. That's your moment to decide who you're going to be. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the spotlight. It's not about the recognition. It's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about proving something to yourself, that you can endure, that you can rise, that you can keep moving forward no matter how many times you get knocked down. That is what Rocky represents. Not just a fighter, but a mindset, a standard, a reminder that no matter where you start, no matter how many times you fall, no matter how impossible it seems, you always have another round left in you.